What's going on, guys? In this video I'll be showing you guys what's in my $5,000 almost $500 Robinhood portfolio. And if you're new to the channel and you like this kind of content, definitely consider subscribing. But other than that, getting into it, I'm going to pull up my Robinhood portfolio right in front of you guys right now. And as you can see, this is live on my phone right here. So in the past month, I've done about 3.71%, which is actually pretty decent, and about almost $200 in terms of cash-wise, how much I've actually been up. And now, as I scroll down here, I'm going to show you guys all the stocks I actually own in my portfolio. So I'm going to go through each stock like individually, just kind of flip through them, say their name, say why, not really too much why I bought them or anything like that. But anyways, first stock here is Microsoft. I have 3 shares of them. My current equity in them is $388, and they take about 7% of my portfolio or so. After that is Twitter. I only have 1 share of them, very small percentage of my portfolio here. After that is Facebook. I have 1 share of them right now. They take up about 3.55% of my portfolio, so again, not a very huge part here. After that is Intel. I own 1 share of them, up a bit on them as well. 51% or $51 equity in them, and only about a little less than 1% of my portfolio. After that's going to be AT&T. I own 4 shares of them, 2% of the portfolio, $124 equity in them, down slightly on them as well. After that is Apple stock. I have 3 shares of them, my biggest holding in my portfolio in terms of stocks. Also equity $644, so a little bit above a little bit above 11%, almost 12% there. After that is Pepsi. I have 2 shares of them, almost 5% equity in my portfolio there. After that is Coca-Cola. I have 3 shares of them, average cost $44, 146 equity, up about 10% there, only about 2% of my portfolio or so in Coke. After that is Colgate. I have 2 shares of them. Average cost $65, about up a little bit there, only again 2.5% in my portfolio with them. After that is Nike, 1%, or excuse me, I had 3 shares of them, $260 equity, almost 5% of my portfolio in them, so a little bit bigger holding there as well. After that is GM, 2 shares of them, only $78 equity, almost 1.5% there. After that is McDonald's, 1 share of them, $195 in equity, 3.5% in my portfolio, but I only own 1 share of them. After that is Walmart. I own 2 shares of them, $204 in terms of equity, about 3.72% of my portfolio. After that is Starbucks. I own 4 shares of them, so again a little bit of a larger holding here, $312 in equity, 5.69% of my portfolio in them. After that is 3M. I have 1 share of them, equity about 187%, about 3.4% of my portfolio there. After that is Boeing. 1 share of them, $380 equity there because they're such a highly priced stock, almost 7% of my portfolio. After that is Johnson & Johnson. 2 shares of them, 5% of my portfolio here, and $284 in equity. So again, another decently sized stock there. After that is Pfizer. I own 2 shares of them, only $81 in equity, 1.5% of my portfolio. After that is AbbVie, 1 share of them as well, $79 in equity and 1.45% of my portfolio. After that's Morgan Stanley. I own 2 shares of them, 1.74% of my portfolio, only $95 in equity. After that's PayPal, only 1 share of them, $112 in equity and 2% of my portfolio. And after that is Bank of America, 1 share of them, $30 in equity, so very, very small part of my portfolio here. After this is KeyBank, again, 1 share, very small portfolio, only $17 in equity. After that's Main Street Capital, 1 share of them again, so less than 1% of portfolio diversity there, only $39 in equity. After that's Realty Income. I have 1.2% of my portfolio in them, 70% equity. After that is Dow DuPont. I have 1 share of them, again, less than 1% in my portfolio diversity, only $37 in equity. After that, Southern, 1 share of them, $53 in equity, almost 1% in my portfolio. After that's actually an ETF, and I have 2% of my portfolio in them, $127 in equity. This is ProShares S&P 500, high dividend, low volatility ETF. After that's ProShares S&P 500 Dividend Aristocrats ETF. I have 2 shares of them, 137% equity, about 2.5% in my portfolio. After that's Vanguard S&P 500 ETF. I have 2 shares of them, 5.41% equity, 9%, almost 10% of my portfolio in them, so that's a pretty decent chunk again. After that's Vanguard High Dividend Yield ETF. I have $176 in equity, 2 shares of them, and it takes about 3% of my portfolio there. That is actually the last stock in my portfolio. So about roughly 15 to 20% of my portfolio is in ETF, and the rest is in stocks. And so far, as you can see in the past month, up about 3.72%. Past week, up about almost 1%. And today, that's how well I've done so far. But like I said before, guys, if you're new to the channel, definitely consider subscribing if you're into this kind of content. And also feel free to leave a like if you enjoyed the video and comment below what you think of my portfolio. But other than that, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video.